1641 local time. South China Sea, the US Navy warship moved steadily through international waters, its grey hull slicing cleanly across the calm sea. This wasn't a show of force. No missile hatches open, no aircraft overhead, just presence. But presence alone, in this part of the world, is often enough to trigger confrontation. The first contact, 1643 hours. A radar operator stiffened. Surface contact, bearing 180, fast. The tactical display showed a small return. Low profile, minimal radar cross-section. Speed climbing rapidly. The ship's captain stepped closer. What kind of vessel? The operator zoomed in, using electro-optical sensors. The image sharpened. A narrow hull, angular superstructure, missile canisters along the deck. The answer came quietly. Chinese missile boat. Why missile boats matter? Missile boats are small, fast, deadly, designed not to fight alone, but to overwhelm larger warships with speed and surprise. They don't warn, they don't posture, they charge. Unverified, intent question. Unverified OSINT reports later suggested the missile boat may have been operating under a regional assertive patrol directive, a grey zone order that stops just short of open combat. If true, that directive left enormous room for interpretation and miscalculation. The speed spikes, 1646 hours. The missile boat accelerated 30 knots, then 40. Its bow rose as engines roared, cutting straight toward the US warship. No course deviation, no signaling, just a direct approach. The air defense officer frowned. That's not shadowing. The captain agreed. That's a run. The distance collapses, 10 nautical miles, 8-6. At this speed, impact or missile launch could occur within minutes. The US ship transmitted a standard warning. Chinese naval vessel, you are approaching a US Navy ship operating lawfully in international waters. Alter course immediately. No response. Unverified. Weapons status. Unverified imagery later suggested missile canisters aboard the Chinese vessel may have been uncovered during the approach, a move consistent with readiness, though not definitive proof of hostile intent. The US sensors noticed and recorded the captain's dilemma. Fire too early. Escalation. Wait too long. Disaster. Missile boats exist to force this exact moment. The captain spoke calmly. Condition yellow. Track, don't target. The warship held course, not backing down, not charging forward, holding. The second warning, 1649 hours. The missile boat crossed another invisible line, inside weapons danger range. The US ship transmitted again, sharper this time. Chinese naval vessel, your current course is unsafe. Alter course immediately or defensive measures will be taken. Still nothing. The missile boat continued its run. The intent becomes clear. Through binoculars, sailors could now see crew movement on the Chinese vessel. Fast, purposeful, no panic. This wasn't a mistake, this was pressure. Unverified, fire control indicators. Unverified sensor analysis later suggested intermittent emissions consistent with fire control radar alignment. Not a lock, but preparation. This was never confirmed by either side, but it was enough to change the tone. The ship prepares. 1651 hours. The US destroyer subtly altered speed. Not evasive, not aggressive, just enough to improve maneuvering options. Close-in weapon systems rotated silently. Electronic warfare suites warmed. Still no missiles armed. Still no radar locks. The message was restraint, for now. Why this moment is dangerous. Missile boats are meant to force reactions. If the larger ship fires, it looks aggressive. If it waits, it risks being struck first. This is grey zone warfare at its sharpest, and the Chinese vessel knew it. The final approach, 1653 hours, 4 nautical miles, 3. The missile boat was now well within launch distance for modern anti-ship missiles. One button, that's all it would take. The captain looked at the tactical plot. Any response? The answer was simple. None, sir. Unverified. Command override. Later, unverified intelligence reports suggested higher-level command channels on both sides may have gone silent at this moment, leaving on-scene commanders to decide how far this would go. If true, the next move rested entirely on the bridge. The turning point. The missile boat surged again, engines pushed to maximum, its bow cut directly toward the US ship's forward quarter. No warning shots, no flares, just speed. The captain didn't hesitate. Prepare defensive response. Not fire, not engage. Prepare, because something else was already moving, beyond the horizon, fast, and whatever was about to happen would end this charge, one way or another. The invisible response, 1654 hours. The Chinese missile boat was still charging, 4 engines at maximum thrust, bow high, wake widening behind it, but something changed, not on the surface, in the spectrum. Unverified, electronic warfare engaged. Unverified sensor logs later suggested the US warship activated directional electronic countermeasures, not a broad jamming blast, but a focused disruption aimed specifically at the missile boat's sensors and data links. No alarms sounded, no lights flashed, but aboard the Chinese vessel, systems began to behave strangely. The first glitch, the missile boat's speed wavered, not by much, but enough to notice. Its heading shifted a few degrees left, then corrected, then drifted again. From the US bridge, it looked subtle. From inside the missile boat, it may have felt very different. Unverified, targeting issues. Later, unconfirmed reports claimed the missile boat briefly lost stable targeting solutions, fire control displays flickering, range data lagging. This has never been officially acknowledged, but the timing was unmistakable. The second layer appears, 16:56 hours. A new contact entered the picture. Fast, low, closing from the west. A US Navy helicopter, likely a maritime patrol variant, rose over the horizon, holding altitude just above the wavetops. It didn't approach aggressively. It didn't fire. It simply appeared, and it changed the equation instantly. Why a helicopter matters. Against a missile boat, helicopters are deadly. They see farther. They target faster. They carry weapons specifically designed to neutralize small, fast attack craft. And most importantly, they're hard to ignore. The missile boat hesitates. 16:58 hours. For the first time, the Chinese vessel altered course, just slightly, enough to avoid a direct collision path, enough to suggest uncertainty. The US captain noticed immediately. They see it, he said. They're recalculating. Unverified, command interference. Unverified OSINT chatter later suggested Chinese command channels may have issued conflicting guidance at this moment. Push forward to maintain pressure or disengage to avoid escalation. If true, that indecision showed. The American message, without words. The helicopter climbed, its sensors locked onto the missile boat. No missile rails extended, no targeting laser illuminated. But the intent was obvious. You are seen, you are tracked, you are outmatched. The break, 1700 hours. The missile boat's engines throttled back, its bow lowered. Then abruptly, it turned hard to port, cutting across its own wake and opening distance from the US warship. Not a retreat, a disengagement. The charge is over. The US ship did not pursue, it did not chase, it did not fire. The helicopter shadowed the missile boat just long enough to confirm separation, then widened its orbit. The sea returned to quiet. Aftermath on the bridge. Condition yellow remained in effect. Every system stayed alert. The captain addressed his officers. This wasn't an accident, he said. It was a probe. The air defense officer nodded, and they didn't like what they found. Why this encounter matters. Missile boats are built to intimidate larger ships. They rely on speed, ambiguity, and forcing early reactions. This time, none of that worked. The US response was layered, restrained, and overwhelming, without ever crossing the line into open conflict. Unverified. Strategic takeaway. Unverified assessments later suggested Chinese planners gained critical insight from the incident, not about American weapons, but about American discipline. No panic, no rash fire, no escalation, just control, and control changes calculations. The quiet conclusion. No press release detailed the speeds, no statement mentioned missile readiness, but internally both sides logged the encounter carefully, because everyone understood the truth. The charge had failed, and next time, the approach would not be so direct. In modern naval warfare, unleashing hell doesn't always mean missiles or gunfire. Sometimes it means denying your opponent everything they hope to force. Fear, confusion, and reaction. And on that day in the South China Sea, a missile boat learned the hard way. Speed alone is not power. Control is.